Welcome back to the No Comfort Zone podcast. This is Dan Brzezowski. I'm going to be your host, and I'm letting you know that I think we're going to be changing the direction of the podcast based on some feedback that I received from a very recent podcast. When it comes down to dealing with adversity, I got very specific about labels and identity. And in doing so, I triggered a few people into reaching out and looking or seeking for help with dealing with addiction. And that's not what this show is going to be entirely about, but dealing with addiction. And also after recovery, how do you find success? And I'm honored to say that, for people to think that I'm this successful, but I just went from point A to point B. I had a rocky time in my life. There was drugs and alcohol involved. And what I ended up doing was I ended up finding a way through the support, through some systems and processes that I went through, that I was able to get out of the addiction. And then my life began to thrive. And that happens for a lot of people that are out there. So if you've dealt with that before, and if you're interested in learning more, know somebody that might be having a problem with it right now, please forward this podcast. But on the inside of the show, I'll let you know in the direction and kind of what's going on and what this show is going to look like in the future. I'll see you on the inside.
Welcome.
Attention, please.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the No Comfort Zone podcast. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and live on purpose. Broadcasting to the world from Rockford, Illinois. This is your wake-up call.
Warning.
You are the solutions to all your problems. Stop thinking average. Become the hero version of yourself. Every day, every time, without fail, no exceptions. It all matters. You've entered the No Comfort Zone. It's time for a reality check.
So in order to reach a broader audience, I'm really ultimately narrowing it down. And what I do is I randomly rant. If in case you wanted to know, that's what this podcast really is. I just rant. I get in front of a microphone and I say pretty much whatever on my mind. And I always go back to reference how I went from point A to basically being as average as you could possibly be, based on certain adversities and things that were going on in my life, to how to start to thrive and how to start to find success and purpose and passion in your life. And what I ended up doing was I created this blueprint. And this blueprint has helped me in my business with sales. It's helped me with management. It's helped me personally. It's helped me with my kids. This blueprint, it's basically 4 pillars, ultimately. 4 pillars that actually help me to go from point A to point B. It's all about getting your mindset right. It's about setting some clear and realistic and uncomfortable goals. And then it's also about gaining the knowledge that you need in certain areas of your life in order for you to pursue and move forward. And when adversity strikes, because it will, you have a game plan of how you're going to handle it. And then the last pillar is going to be life. And that's my favorite one. It's all about energy, excitement, enthusiasm, and engagement, and how to apply those principles into your life. But that's pretty much what we talk about on the call. But today I wanted to talk about where we're at with this. I talked about labels and identity yesterday, and labels and identity, labels from the outside point of view can kill you if you buy into them, if you start to have conviction, if you believe that 100% that that's who you are. And that's not who you are. That's their opinion of who you are. A lot of men need to find out who they really are. And this podcast is it's truly dedicated to men who have recovered or are in recovery from adversity, whatever that looks like to you: financial, addiction, relationship, not hitting your goals, getting terminated from employment, getting a new job and having challenges, whatever that is for you, whatever adversity that is. And how do you prosper? And my blueprint is a perfect format because it's helped me and it's helped others go from point A to point B, going from being average to being, I don't want to say successful because it sounds there, but I got a lot better off than where I was at before. And I keep getting better. And I think that's the best part. The blueprint actually helps you generate more success in your life, or at least gives you opportunity to be successful. And hint, just so you know, no spoiler alert, but in order for you to become more successful, you have to face and deal with more adversity. It's just the way it is. I didn't make the rules, but that's how it goes. And that's what I figured out. And in doing so, my goal is to help as many men as I possibly can to really get outside of their comfort zone and live on purpose through this simple but not easy process of the No Comfort Zone Blueprint. If you want information on it, go to thenocomfortzone.com, comfortzone.com. You'll see a picture of me, I think. And then there's a calendar. Log onto the calendar. I'll call you We'll talk about 3 things you want, 3 things that are holding you back. We'll do it really quick. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll share the blueprint with you. And if you want more information later on, my whole goal is to convince you at the end of that phone call for you to go through a no comfort zone period. A period of time where you basically live in an uncomfortable state for 30, 60, 90 days from point A to point B and see what happens in the middle. I guarantee you it'll be interesting. And I know for certain as you're going to become unrecognizable to those people that may have put those labels on you. But more importantly, you're going to find passion and purpose in your life. And once you have that, you are cooking with gas, man. You are going in the right direction for sure. So bring you up to speed. I recently went to the doctor's visit. I have a new doctor, and the new doctor gave me a full-on battery of tests, a full everything, and we got to know each other. And in part of the podcast that I did yesterday, and in part with this visit, and where I'm currently at in my life, thinking long-term goals now, I'm thinking at 52, I'm thinking 25, 30-year goals from now. And living in the moment and staying centered has been more important to me now than ever before. So I wanted to do this visit the right way. So like, 52-year-old guy going to see his doctor, I had a list of questions. I had a list of everything that I wanted to based on my level of awareness of me. And what I did was I shared that information with my new doctor who did a full screening of me before. We had a conversation before I arrived there and a screening. And then when we had a chance to sit down for an hour and talk, it was pretty awesome. I got a chance to talk about all this things that happened in my life. There's a scar on my face from when I was like 10 years old. I was riding my bike and I hit this ramp going probably, I think 137,000 miles per hour. And I think I went up about 30 stories in the air. And when I landed completely on my face. 6 stitches later, that was just a shocker. But she asked me about it. She asked me about everything. And she was very thorough in her examination of getting to know me as her new patient. I let out some health goals with her that I was very interested in. And, the weight that I want to lose, and not only the weight I want to lose from a vanity point of view, but also from a health point of view, from a position in my life where I want to be healthy. Folks, 2006, 2007, I couldn't even have this conversation with you. I was skinny as they get. I looked like a crackhead. I smoked a ton of cigarettes, drank a lot of everything, and I was really not healthy. I was probably 150 pounds. People would look at me and thought I had cancer because of all the weight loss that I had and how horrible I looked. People that were close to me knew that I had issues, but the fact of the matter is I wasn't a crackhead. I was a drug addict and I was an alcoholic, and I wasn't dealing with my health, but I couldn't have this type of conversation back then. As a matter of fact, back then I was trying to get out of my body. I didn't want to have anything to do with this planet anymore. So she asked me the question. She said, so what really changed for you? Why we talked about certain medications that she wants to put me on, and I don't know what it is. So I asked her the question, is it a narcotic? Oh, you have a concern about that. Does that go back to 2006 and 2007? I said, of course it does. And she goes, how's it going? And I go, well, hey man, I'm all good to go. 14 years later, I'm still crazy as they get, but I'm having a good time and I have serenity in my life. I'm a peaceful person. I'm still an intense person, still a fun person. But the fact of the matter is I'm very calm and I appreciate where I'm at in my life right now. I don't need to take a break for me anymore by taking a drink and quite frankly, or taking any types of anything else to get out of my state. I really do like who I am and what I'm about. So then she started to go into my occupation and what I'm doing and this podcast that I'm doing. And she's like, how did you go from, and I'll just say it for terms that we can understand in this podcast, how did you go from point A to point B? And I said, what do you mean, by getting sober? And she goes, no, I get that, and she goes, but, do tell me what's happened. I go, 6 detoxes, you can see that in there. You can see 2 rehabs in there. You see all the labels that I was given in there. You can see all these things. And it was just astonishing to me. She's like, I get that. And then I see that, you were in a program for 2 years, you had therapy and all this stuff. And we went through all that. And she goes, but how did you get to this point where you're thriving? That's the part that I take for granted. That's the part that a lot of people that are dealing with recovery or dealing with, hey man, I got an addiction issue. I don't know what to do. Or a lot of people that are done with that part of it and now are looking at, hey, I want to become successful, but I'm an addict. You're living with that label. Truth be told, you don't have to live like that anymore. That's yesterday. You have your whole future ahead of you. You have your next 30 years to plan out. And that's what's great about the blueprint. We can take a minute to go over, what is your 5-year goal? What's your 10-year goal? on a side note, you want to lose 10 pounds. That's great. You want to lose 10 pounds. You want to lose 50 pounds and you look relatively healthy. That's a different ballgame. That's a different mindset. I believe the 50 pounds would be easier to lose than the 10. And if you're in the health and fitness industry and you know what I'm talking about, it comes down to a habitual mindset, daily actions that you need to take, and these behaviors that need you to form in order for you to change your lifestyle. And when you change your mindset, when you have goals in place and you change your habits, then you change your behaviors and you change your lifestyle, and it all compounds together, you're on a better trajectory to actually lose the 50 pounds. Versus you lose the 10 pounds, you're going to gain it right back. I should say that the 50 pounds is probably sustainable. Now, I've never lost 50 pounds before, but I'll tell you what, I have lost 30, I've lost 40 pounds before. And I think that the greater the goal, the more ambition you have, but also the more likelihood you are to actually achieve it. And in the big picture of things, from what I can see, from my point of view, being a guy who is an ex-addict, okay, am I in recovery anymore? I practice the principles all the time, but the fact is that I have massive goals. I have massive ambitions. I'm very content and very grateful for where I'm at today. And that affords me the opportunity to have these big, ambitious goals that I'm looking for. And quite frankly, some of them are happening as we speak. And there's a few that are down the road that look like they're happening as well. I can't promise you what's going to happen tomorrow, but I can tell you this. I know who I am today, and I know what I'm working towards and what I'm working for. And I know how I'm working. And based on that, I know that I can help other people do exactly the same thing. If you've been down and out, you've been busted. Hey, listen, if you've just hit the concrete super hard on your face and you busted your chin open, hey, it's time to get back up. And the best thing that I can tell you to do is, if you have a decision to make the first best thing you could do is make the right decision, then take action. The worst thing to do is to not make a decision. And the second best thing is to make a decision and it's wrong. Either way, you have to make a decision and take action. You're going to have to keep moving forward for you to achieve the things you want in your life. But first, you have to know what it is, what you want in your life. More importantly, what you're going to have to start with is, who are you now? Who is that person? You tell me who you are right now. We can work with that and we can build you to a point A to a point B, whatever that point B is for you. That's what I'm so excited about. You get a phone call and somebody says, hey man, that podcast really touched me. And I'm really grateful that you put that out there, because I'm dealing with some labels too. And these labels are genuine. They're real. They're authentic. They're correct labels. But I don't know how to deal with it. And rather than say to somebody, you know what, just go to this program, pick up the 1-800 number and call this person or whatever. Now, you reached out for a reason. There's a connection there. Now, it comes down to purpose in your life. My purpose is, if somebody wants help to become successful, I can help you with that. You got to get into a recovery program. And it's men who are successful after recovery. Men who prosper after recovery. It's huge. It's everything that you understand. That I know you might be dealing with some nasty stuff right now. You very well might be. I always say somebody's either going into adversity, they're in the middle of it, or they're just getting out of it. But it all depends how you look at it, isn't it? Couldn't you be in a position where you actually realize that, I'm dealing with some adversity, but good, as Jocko would say. Hey man, good. You got some problems going on in your life? Good. You need to address them. You need to handle them. You need to fix them, because the person that fixes those problems will get greater challenges tomorrow, but the reward is so sweet in the middle. And these milestones, just like the 50 pounds, you're not going to lose it all in one day. Here, let's go back on this. My doctor told me I got to cut out the caffeine a little bit. I only drink 4 cups, maybe a day. And she says, so the first 3 days don't change anything, but after the next 3 days, cut down a half. Then cut down another half the next 3 days until you get down to 2 cups. Do things in moderation. When you do things in moderation, you're going to get yourself into a healthier state. And the whole goal is to get you into a healthier state. And that's why you're here today. I don't have any diseases that I'm trying to fix. I wanted to talk with my doctor to get on a holistic plan for me to basically be more vibrant, be more alive. And tying that lifestyle into my blueprint, it's perfect. It's actually the ideal situation. And that's what I want to share with you. So if you're a guy out there who's in his 50s, if you're a guy out there who's had some adversity and you're looking, you know what, hey man, maybe you got an addiction issue. Maybe you're hooked on the Vicodins from an accident at work. Maybe you drink too much on the weekends. Maybe you've had some situations that have happened and you're in a jam. Listen, it's going to happen. That's life. Just deal with it. But if you don't know how to deal with it, or if you're dealing with a situation, you know there's so much more than the bullshit that you're in the middle of, than this quicksand that you're in. If you know there's more, then you need to go to my calendar. Go to thenocomfortzone.com. Get on the calendar so that I can exchange, have a good conversation and figure things out. Because at the end of 20 minutes, you're going to know one thing. You're going to have a plan how to achieve your goals. That's it. That's your point A. You'll have a plan how to achieve your goals. And then from there, if you want to continue to work together, rock and roll, let's go. And if you want to do a No Comfort Zone challenge, man, right on. I'll do one there right there with you. And I am looking for 3 people to do it. I think it would be fun. Go to the No Comfort Zone Facebook and become a member of that. And it's very, very few people, but we become connected that way. And 3 people that hold each other accountable through this period. And basically just catch in, and then we catch up. And then after the 30, 60, 90 day mark, we kind of check back in from where we started to where we're at. It's pretty exciting stuff. Anyway, that's the direction we're going these days in the No Comfort Zone. So I'm super excited to have an opportunity to work with you one-on-one. But more importantly, I'm more excited for you to actually start beginning to live the life on your terms. And what I mean by that is this. It's super, super simple, but it ain't easy. Today is the day that you have to get outside of your comfort zone and live on purpose.
Say goodbye.
Want more of the No Comfort Zone? You can follow Dan on Instagram and Twitter at NoComfortZone1.
Bye.
Or on the web at thenocomfortzone.com.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the No Comfort Zone podcast.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.